Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. This one is an exciting one because it's my tool shed restarted after several months of being on the back burner. This video is a good one, packed with lots of different stuff. It does meander a little bit in the middle, but stick around to the end because I get a bunch of really good work done on the tool shed. So I think it's a good one, and hopefully for all those people out there that have been waiting for the tool shed videos, it's the beginning of quite a bit of work going forward on this project. But before we get into the video, I just wanted to say a big thanks to everyone out there who wished me a happy birthday. The weather didn't cooperate fully, but I had a lovely weekend and time spent with friends, took some time off, and it was really fun. And to everybody out there who sent me a little bit of extra, a little birthday surprise through Super Thanks or PayPal, I just wanted to say I really appreciate that. Thanks very much. And it was really nice to get those little surprises. But let's get into the video. It's a good one. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, give it a like, share it around, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll see you again at the end. Good morning, everybody. It's definitely a sleepy eye situation. I'm feeling tired, and that's because it's early. I've got coffee to hopefully deal with this situation. And I'm up early because it's July, and I thought that's a great time to start working on moving heavy stones around. I feel like now is the time I'm going to start the tool shed foundation. And so I'm up early to see if I can beat the heat, to see what I can get done. So the terrace was looking lovely. It looks really nice over here. I've got the fig tree circle there. I've had some great suggestions for what to put in the soil, so I'll make some decisions on that. I've got the blue compost toilet behind me, and that's all looking good. But what's over in this direction is definitely a lot scarier. I've got a lot of scrap wood from when we made the compost toilets. I've got the workbench totally in the way. I've got a pile of stones that's been there for ages that's in my way. And worst of all, I have all these little bits from when my friend and I stripped the pine poles. So I've got lots of tidying to do, some weeds to pull up. I'm gonna get some geotextile fabric down in this middle part. And then I'm gonna start moving some stones into place. I got this big guy over here, and I'm gonna get him over into this corner, and then my goal will be to build up the front part. Maybe today, maybe not, we'll see how the heat goes. So I've got a whole bunch of work ahead of me. I'm gonna finish my coffee, see if I wake up, and then head over here and start cleaning up this area. So I've been working hard. I've been going for a couple of hours, and I've got a lot done. I managed to move the gigantic stone into the corner with much effort, but not as much effort as you'd think. With the iron bar, you can really lever the thing into place, but when I got it into the corner, it was in the wrong position, so I had to spin it around, and the geotextile was getting in the way, and the gravel made things difficult. But I got there in the end, and I'm very happy with it. The position's great. I ran a string line from the face of one stone to the other stone, so that gives me a line to work to when I start placing the other ones along the front. I also wandered down to Sinead's yurt construction. They're really going for it down there. Progress is being made. And I was gifted something that I'll show you in a minute. And I also had an idea while I was working. And the idea is this. It's a pipe with bags stuck in the end. So if I could find my tape, I would have used tape. But of course, the polytunnel is a disaster, and that's another project on my list. But the idea is to put this pipe through here. I'll need to remove some more stones, get that stone out of the way, run it across, and it just gives me access under the ground if I want to run wires underneath. I can put the whole conduit through, and when the time comes, I can then dig the wires and connect it to the solar system over there. And the thing I was gifted down at Sinead's Build was a damp-proof membrane. So this allows water through, but also allows air through. No, it keeps water out, but allows air through. So it's breathable. That's the idea. It's breathable. So this thing is going to go over the geotextile fabric that I laid at some point. I don't want to put it down just yet because I don't want it to get ripped up. So I'm going to put this somewhere safe. This looks like somewhere safe for the moment. And return to it when I have more stones in place. So it doesn't look like I've done too much. It took me ages to move that stone and tidy the place. I got rid of some weeds, got rid of all those pine shavings. I've also set up a little station for mixing my lime, so everything's ready to go. And I think what I'm gonna do now is take a little break, wait for the heat of the day to pass, and I'll either get started again this evening or tomorrow morning, depending on how I feel. So I'm happy with the progress. Things look good. I'm ready to start choosing some stones and laying them out, and I'm excited to finally be going again on this project. So the sun is going down and the weather is cooling off. I'm hiding in the shadows because it still is quite hot in the sun. And as you can see, I've done nothing else on the tool shed because it just got brutal in the afternoon. So I've been inside doing loads of video editing. I've done some stuff in the garden. And now I'm going to do some trimming because it's been raining a lot. The grass has grown loads. And my middle terrace, I can't even walk on it anymore. So I'm going to, let me get this thing out of my face first, and then I'm going to grab the trimmer and hit the third terrace so I can actually walk on it, because I've had an exciting development. I've had another polytunnel arrive, and I'm going to try to get that up this week. So I'd like to be able to walk around where I'm working, and so I'm going to go cut some grass. Okay, that's a very short strimmer session. The grass is very juicy and super thick. The rains that have come over the past couple of weekends have been very strong, and it's caused a lot of grass to grow. And this terrace is kind of a nightmare. There's a whole bunch of stuff buried amongst the grass over there, and I've got the box with the polytunnel in it in the grass somewhere over there as well. So I'm gonna make a path to the polytunnel. I've trimmed around the outside. I've made a path to the garden, and that's good enough for me. I don't really feel like trimming, so I just want to do the bare minimum. And then I can get to work on the polytunnel without having to trip over the grass. So I've got a little bit more to do. I'm gonna finish up. So I had some lofty goals of getting this garden polytunnel together yesterday, but I ended up going for a 60th birthday lunch, and then I ended up helping Sinead sand her deck in the evening. That was actually a lot of fun. We had some beers and we just got on with the work, but it took up the rest of my day. So this is how far I got in the morning, and I'm going to continue on today to try to assemble this. So I'm working at it. I'm really excited to have the space because I've also been hard at work tidying the polytunnel up above as well. So this disastrous area will definitely be tidied once I get the other polytunnel up. Yesterday I was in the pool for the first time. It was super hot, and I managed to go in and float around on the ring for a bit, and I have a feeling I'll be in there again today. It's a truly wonderful space. I'm so lucky to have it. And then up here, I've been trying to tidy the polytunnel, and in the process creating a terrifying disaster zone. So my goal for this morning is to try to separate out all the garden stuff into buckets, all the stuff that's likely to go down into the other polytunnel, and then tidy this enough so that I can find all of my stoneworking tools to work on the foundation. But it's going to be too hot to be doing that today, so my goal is to tidy enough so that I can liberate one of these big pieces of wood, and then I'm going to plane it and try to square it off. Because even though it seems to be taking me forever, the tool shed foundation is but one small piece of this puzzle, and the timber framing is the major part. And I'd love to get that started to give myself just a bit of variety and to do something a little less heavy in this hot weather. So I'm going to get going on a bit of tidying. I'm going to try to liberate one of these pieces of wood. And the next time you see me, hopefully, this is a lot cleaner and I have a piece of wood set up there, ready for planing. So it's around 3 in the afternoon. It is hot as all hell, and there's a wasp here in front of me. There's a lot of wasps back there. I think I've encountered a wasp's nest, so I'm evacuating. I'm aborting the mission for today at least. I've been moving the lime over to beside the tool shed so I can get it out of the polytunnel and stage this area. But since I can't really be in there anymore without fear for multiple stings, I'm going to head down to the other polytunnel with this little shovel, where I'm going to dig the trench out a little bit more. It needs a few more adjustments before I can fit the frame into place. It's very hot, as I mentioned, and I've been stopping off here fairly regularly, giving myself a little splash in the face, so that's been helping. But for the most part, the weather is ridiculous, and once I do this, hopefully Sinead will stop her sanding mission. Maybe you can hear her off in the distance. And help me put the cover on before she leaves for a little weekend trip. So I've got a bit more work ahead of me today, and then I'm going to call it quits, and she and I are going to go into town, have some dinner, and I'll send her on her way on the train. So that's where she is. Maybe you can see her over yonder between the olive trees, working away in the hot sun, trying to get the deck ready so that when she gets back from her trip, they can put the yurt up. And I somehow managed to manhandle this thing into place, put it together on my own. I was dubious about whether I could do it or not, but I did. But I don't think putting the cover on is a very enjoyable thing. So I've just got to do some corners. But my parents' friends, George and Dennis, when they were visiting, dug this trench out. I covered it with the tarp so not too many weeds would grow. And they did an amazing job, and that saved me a lot of work in the hot sun. So even though I would love to push on with the work, get that piece of wood out of the polytunnel, planed up, nice and square, and ready to go, the wasps are saying no, and the heat is saying no, and I'm gonna listen to both of them and start fresh bright and early tomorrow. But I'm really happy with the work I got done, partially tidying the polytunnel, setting this bad boy up, and I'm excited to get going again super early some morning, very soon. It's another morning, but it's definitely not super early, and that's okay because the weather has returned to survivable temperatures and all is well. The polytunnel is up. I managed to get the cover on by myself without too much effort. I'm hoping I don't fill it with clutter, even though I have loads of clutter already stacked up at the doorway, ready to go inside. But I'm gonna deal with that another day. I still also have to dig, I've dug the trench, but I have to fill the trench in, cover it with dirt, and that'll basically keep the whole thing from blowing away. So I'll do that very soon, and I hope we don't have any gusty days before I get to that. But now it's back to the tool shed, and I thought I'd switch things up a little bit from the stone moving and get to work on the wood. So I've got a piece of wood right here in front of me, and rather than continuing to talk, I'm just gonna get right into the work and explain myself once it's done. Okay, so wood prep might be a little bit more boring than anticipated because this piece of wood, as crazy as it looks, as knotty and rugged as it is, it has two square sides, the very first two that I checked. So this one and this one on the side, they're square, and when you do timber framing, you work from two square sides, and the other sides can be doing whatever the heck they want to do. As long as you have two square faces, you're good. So I had planned on bringing out the electric planer, getting everything square and nice, but as it turns out, I can skip to the sanding stage. And I have a new belt sander, sort of a belt orbital sander, courtesy of Sinead. She picked it up to be able to work on her yurt deck. And sanding will be a lot easier with this one rather than trying to use the circular orbital sander, which takes forever and can leave some weird marks. So let's sand. So right now I'm just sanding it rough so it doesn't get me all splintery when I work with it, so I can mark it up more easily. It'll get a final sand later. One thing I forgot to do though is you want to sort of eye up the piece of wood looking for any bends. Make sure it's not a banana because it can be square, but it can still be bent. So I'm definitely no expert at this. This piece of wood looks good enough to me. So I'm just gonna continue sanding it, get it all ready, and probably do that with a few more pieces as well, so that when the time comes to start working with the wood, I'll have a little stockpile ready to go. Basically what I'm doing right now is avoiding working on the stones because it's gotten hot again and I don't want to be carting stones around in this brutal heat. So that's something I will hope to do early tomorrow morning. But now it's all about the sanding in the shade. It's a new morning, but not a lot of work has been done on the wood. I basically had some friends help me pull this giant piece out, which I thought was 4 meters, and it's only about 3.5. And it's also got some damage at the end from a carpenter bee, and I believe they just make a little nest. Hopefully it hasn't burrowed the whole way through the wood. But this piece is actually too short to span the distance that I need it for. So that was an error in judgment, but that's okay. I'll be able to use it for something else. And I'm actually going to order a piece of wood that's 4 meters long, that's already planed, so that I can be sure that it's nice and straight, because when you start messing around with pieces that are this long, it's quite difficult to make sure it's not twisted or bowed in some way. Today, my goal is to finally get some stones in place, get them limed in, and actually move forward in a bigger way on this foundation. So I want to build up this corner a little bit more, get another stone on top of this one, and just get this totally ready to be my first post holder stone. The tools are ready to go. I'm feeling motivated. The weather is okay. Let's just get into it and see how far I can get. It's turned into such a gorgeous evening. I really love this weather. It's hot, but not nearly as hot as it usually is in July, so I'm very happy to be working with it in this, and I'm very happy for some cloud cover. And it's actually just been a really wonderful day of work, and I've really enjoyed myself. However, I didn't get the cornerstone on that I was hoping to get on. I wanted one that spanned the top of the big stone and went across to some of the smaller ones. But I was hoping I could find one that didn't involve rock breaking. However, I looked through the pile, and everything that I have in there would involve me breaking off corners using the drill and the plug and feathers, and I just don't have the energy for that right now. So instead, I put another stone in place along the side on the inside, and I'm happy with that. I've put some lime down, I've got some stones in place, and things are finally moving along, even if it is quite slowly. So it's been a tough day, but a productive day. I've also been hard at work around my place doing a whole bunch of little jobs, trying to get a couple of videos together before I go to Clayfest this weekend, which is a UK earth building conference, courses, little mini festival somewhere in London or outside of London. So I'm looking forward to that. Sinead and I are going to go to that, and I think it starts on Sunday and goes for 5 days. So I'm trying to stockpile a few videos for you so that I can leave my computer at home and just enjoy. So it's been really busy around here, but I'm looking forward to the break, and I'm excited to get dirty with clay and get my hands into the mud and learn some new things as well. So I'm really tired, as you can probably tell. Goodbye from this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.